I've been on a search. Sig Sauer P365 XL. It has this amazing upgrade that now makes this pistol a contender in my book. And I was able to do the work of converting or installing the module myself. It comes from Wilson Combat. And it's just a modified grip that you add on to your P365 or 365 XL. Here's how it arrived from Wilson Combat. This is the packaging, and there are written instructions inside. I also wanted to see it, and so I sought out on YouTube and I found a video by Wilson Combat that demonstrated it and made it a little bit more clear for me on how to do it. It was mostly straightforward. Unload and clear your pistol. While your pistol's in locked back position, rotate the slide release lever to the downward position. Now the upper slide assembly can be removed from the lower frame after releasing that slide lock. Next, you'll remove the rear frame pin. You'll use a push tool and push it from the left side so that it ejects out on the right side. I really like these tech mats because they have a magnetic storage bin on the side that's tiny to fit those tiny little pieces, and you will use that later in the new grip module, so store it for safekeeping. At this point, the trigger chassis can be lifted straight out from the stock frame of the P365 XL. This small plastic packet came with the grip module, and it holds the magazine release mechanism components to include a tiny spring. So make sure that you're in a place where you can really keep track of these tiny components. Placing that spring and holding it while you insert it into the grip module, that's the trickiest part of this in my experience. So I would recommend that you study the shape of that magazine release so that when you place it, it will go more smoothly. It really is a tricky maneuver, but it becomes self-evident once it's in there correctly. It's not my intention for this to be an installation guide. I do want you to refer back to the video put out by Wilson Combat for that reassemble instructions. And I do want you to know that it was a little bit cumbersome, but I did achieve it. It did take longer than I want to include as far as video here. But you simply place that trigger chassis back down in, you replace that rear frame pin, place the slide back on, and that part's a little bit tricky also, but don't overthink it. And it comes back together and you have this beautiful pistol left in front of you. Cannot wait to shoot it, but lots of things got in my way before I could. Good things. It is my privilege and my honor to instruct large groups as well as individuals and small groups as well. And a lot of the summer was about doing that. Here are some of the folks that took part in those, and here's a couple of glimpses into what that looks like. And then as many times and as often as I could, I would go adventuring. Here's some of those. Summer in Montana is the most glorious 90 days of your life, but it's over fast. The knowledge of how quickly it will pass pounds in my ears, much like the songs of my ancestors. Here is a snippet from the gathering I recently attended of the Little Shell. And just like that, the drums will be over and silence in the form of snow will settle. If you are fortunate enough, you will catch the last rays of that sunset. Winter is a time we'll reflect back on all of the memories we collected during the summer, and we will also reflect back on the lessons that we learned from the lives lived by those who walked before us. This here is my grandfather, and I owe a great deal of gratitude and honor and respect to this man. It is his life that caused me to become the protector in many ways that I am today. And it is the reason why I endeavor to teach others to be their own protector as well. As of 2018, Montana now exceeds the rate of violent crime offenses by population. There were some interesting things that coincide with the year 2018. We suddenly caught the attention of a national audience, and I'll let you have the conjecture to decide what that was. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comments, by the way. It is the lives of my ancestors and my own personal experience while serving as a police officer and crime scene investigator that inform me that you must serve as your own first responder. And so that is my life mission. As crime trends and equipment changes, all of those things require that we change along with it. And so that brings me back to the original point of this video, which is to find the optimum everyday carry for self-defense. Here we are once again looking at the P365 XL with the Wilson Combat Grip module newly installed. Now, my biggest complaint, if you recall, about this pistol was that I could not hit the release and have it work effectively. The nuances of this new CNC milled grip have made that a game changer for me, and now I can do that easily. No problem. Now, my other complaint about the P365 XL was that my hand would be pinched down here at the bottom, and that's not happening either. As you can see, no pinch here. So I just now see this as a contender, and I can't wait to take it to the range. I have a window to go, and this is what I'll be shooting. Today is all about taking myself to the range for some low and slow drills that I'm going to do that are focused on accuracy. Come along with me. Is the Wilson Combat Grip module an upgrade for the Sig Sauer P365 XL that's today's question. It's a verification of my equipment to make sure that I can trust it. I'm running it through slow paces today to verify its accuracy and its mechanics, all of that. And my mechanics with it also. Are we compatible at this point? I'm using 2 different types of ammunition. I did read that the Sig Sauer P365 XL tends to prefer the 115 grain ammunition, but I also have the 124 grain FMJ by Blazer. You really have to pop it in there, which many of us do anyway, but if you're someone who kind of babies your equipment, that's not going to work. It's going to fall right out. The Sig Sauer fits that way to begin with. Just the Wilson Combat module grip module is no different. You really have to pop it in. So the reason why I'm going so slowly to start with is I am just now determining whether or not I've installed this correctly and if it performs correctly. It is a verification of equipment. So my course of fire is going to be on an 8-inch paper plate. That's my target zone. It will be mounted center mass over a silhouette target. I'll be shooting 5 rounds at each station, which includes the 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15 yards for a 25 round count total. There is no time limit, and each round placed outside of the paper plate is a 4-point deduction from possible score of 100. I'm considering, and I hope you do too, as you shoot and practice, that you're managing and cognizant of your draw stroke, your shooting platform, you're isolating that movement during the trigger press, you have mindfulness when shooting is justified, and of course, safety. It is the entire point of the matter in the first place. I highly suggest that you learn how to aim small, because once you learn how to aim small, you learn how to miss small, and that's a good thing. So I'm going to, after I complete this course of fire at the 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15, after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and transition to 3x5 size note cards, tightening that group up. From the 5-yard line, no time limit. Shooting is a fine motor skill endeavor, and I find myself as I'm watching this video, I see and I recall just my giddiness about how well this pistol is now performing in my hands with the grip module, and I'm giddy over it. And you can see that I'm speeding up that course of fire. Those 5 rounds are going a lot faster this time, even though I'm trying to slow down. And that's when mistakes are made. Let's speed it up and go check out that target. Now, the other thing I haven't shared with you yet is that these are new prescription safety glasses for me. And so I'm realizing as I'm standing on that line there that I can actually see my front sight without closing one eye. That's unique and a new experience for me as of late with the prescription glasses. I really am bothered by that 5th round that went outside of the paper target at the 5-yard line. And so this right here, what I'm doing is I'm really slowing down, again, causing myself that intentional pause and verifying that I'm aligned with the target at a natural point of aim. And what we know from research is that we will orient ourselves directly to a perceived threat. And so I'm verifying that my natural point of aim really is direct center to that target or threat, so to speak. time for a magazine change and a load up. I'm using the opportunity to again cause myself to slow down. I only brought one loaded magazine with me to the line each time, reminding myself to slow down. And I am only cycling that Fiocchi ammunition at this time. I have so many variables that I need to test. This will take some time, and today won't be the only day that I test the equipment before I begin trusting it as my defensive tool. I also need to test the different magazines, so I'll be doing that today also. While I don't always carry ad appendix, because that holster for the P365 XL is also compatible with the Wilson Combat Grip, I'm just rolling that into my practice. I already have confidence in it. One other thing I'm going to point out here is that I forgot after that ammunition reload, I forgot what round count I was at as far as my course of fire. So that's why you see me go back and forth here. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But again, there's so many variables that I'm juggling in my head. I think it went all right. All right, that was another good set. I actually have multiple rounds touching here. You can actually see that I have 3 rounds touching here. So 3, 4, 5. Case in point that when you slow it down and you do all of the things, you can really bring that grouping in. 10 yards is going to require a little bit wider lens. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's an adage that's been around for quite some time. Some folks credit it towards the Navy SEALs, and that's probably true. I think that there was a Tombstone character that also used the line, but it's true. You slow down your movements that you really want to ingrain into your recall. Build it into your muscle memory so that when you need it, you can recall it. It's there in your hippocampus to index. That's what that slow and deliberate draw is all about for me. Slow is smooth, and smooth becomes fast. In good time. Let's go see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First round, I was super giddy because that was the first round. Second round, third, fourth, and fifth. In order to get the 15-yard shot in,
in frame, I'm going to have to change the camera angle.
This range of ours is located on a corridor of a lot of big game animals of the predaceous type. And so because of that, you do see me take a look up when I hear a rustle in the trees above me there. Because not too many months ago, there was a deer that was taken down just beyond that target there. You can go back and see some of that video footage. So my ear protection, it does magnify those external sounds, but then it diminishes the sound of gunshot. I know, who creates this kind of stuff? My husband calls it voodoo, but it's wonderful. It's a wonderful invention. And I like the external headsets because they're more comfortable for my ears. The only downside is you have to remember to replace the batteries.
I threw one more round out of that 8-inch circle. Okay, but those errors are all mine. I pushed it. That's on me. But, so, 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15 makes 5 stations for a round count of 25. That values each round worth 4 points. So that's a 92. All right, that's my first time on this grip module. I'm going to give myself grace, the same that I would instruct my students. There is a tendency to chase perfection, and I totally get that. Everyone that steps onto this range, they have that same dark cloud of perfection. And I would say this to you. You're not there yet, but keep working at it. To anything that you want to do well, it requires time, and this is a fine motor skill. So what I would be telling my student right now, I'm going to flip the script and say it to myself. This was your first time shooting this, the Wilson Combat Grip module, and I loved it, by the way. It functioned flawlessly. I enjoyed shooting it a lot. I enjoy the higher capacity, the higher round count, and those errors are still within the realm of acceptability. It's on target of the shmoo. It's not on the 8-inch circle like I had hoped for, but that's okay. I'll try again. That was my first time, so I'm going to afford myself that grace. So it informed me that I have some work to do as far as shot anticipation, and also there's a quickness to that wall that is unique and separate, different from the Glock 43X. For example, the Glock trigger, stock Glock trigger, has a very distinct wall, and the flat face trigger of this has a nice wall too, but it's much faster. It's easier to hit that gas and accelerate a whole lot faster, so to speak. So that's why you need to know your equipment. I know now that if I am going to switch to this module, this shooting platform, and I probably will, I like to carry more rounds if I have more layers to cover it. And in the summertime, you know, we wear less. And so I want to go a little slimmer profile if it's just around town or as a concealed carry situation. But as far as concealment, I can really add some weight to those magazines and carry a little bit bigger gun, because I can wear a bigger, thicker belt, thicker jeans, all of that. Sweaters, sweatshirts, things like that will cover those larger profile firearms a little bit better in that way. So the other thing it told me was that at 15 yards, I have a little bit of work to do. And I believe that it's probably trigger related. I'm so, it's such an intuitive experience for me on the Glock right now, that Glock trigger, that I need to relearn what that wall feels like, the distinct differences of the P365 XL versus that stock Glock trigger. it's faster and I like it. It's just going to take me a little bit to get to the point where I feel like I've perfected it. So I'm going to set up my range here to do that 15 yards again, but this time, I don't know if you can see it, I've set up a 3x5 note card and it's marked 15 yards, and so that's my target. Why set up a smaller target? In order to be accurate, truly accurate, you should learn how to hit very small targets. And then that builds that confidence for you to hit a larger target. And so, not forgetting that I am shooting at a man-shaped silhouette. And defensive pistol it requires that mindset work. If you're someone who values human life, and I do, enormously. But I answered that question years ago about whether or not I could or I would press the trigger if it was my life or the life of another that I was protecting. That's a question you're asked when you enter most police departments or law enforcement. And it's a sobering moment. And it feels like there's no right answer, because of course you don't want to ever take a person's life. But there are situations in which an individual will dictate that as your response. Hopefully it never happens to you. But if it does, I hope that you're prepared. And so this drill is to help you have the confidence that if you ever needed to protect your life or that of another, that you could, and also give you that confidence just to shoot the firearm well. Do things well.
Kudos to you if you're still with me. I know this is long-winded, and I am trying to build some hours to become monetized on YouTube. It needs to be worth my time to do this. There is value in reviewing the video for myself, and hopefully you're finding it a value for yourself also. I can't be everywhere at all times or in lots of geographical locations, so I know that I'm an assist for students near me here. Hopefully I'm an assist for those that are on a journey to find their tool for personal protection as well. Hopefully you heard the objective. This new drill is the same exact one, but I'm going to run it in reverse. So from the 15 yard in, 15, 10, 7, 5, and 3 yards, still 5 shots at each yard line. And so that gives it each a value of 4 points each round. The target, however, is a 3x5 note card. So now that I'm used to the frame, used to the trigger a little bit, more so now, I'm expecting myself to do better, aim small, miss small. That's the goal. Reading the smudge of the lead at point of impact in that region 1, 2, 3, it really looks to me like there's that cluster. And in competition shooting, if you break the line of the target, that's credited towards the shooter as a hit. If it were a student, again, I would credit them as making those and scoring those as hits. There is one that falls outside, and that's round number 5.
Vertically, along this axis here, they're within a pretty good grouping. And really that can be an issue of just breath control. So I'm not mad about it, but I do see that I have a little work to do.
Same drill, 10-yard line on the 3x5 note card still yet. Still slow and deliberate with my draw stroke, deliberate with my sighting, appreciating that I can actually see the target. That's great. Making adjustments because I do have those cheater lenses on the bottom also. It's sort of like living in a weird bubble. Having prescription glasses with 2 prescriptions inside of them, that's different. But I feel like the adjustment's going smoothly. So I'm just going to speed up until you can see the score here. 2 points that I did want to point out, however. The first being that I do have to adjust my grip. And so one time as I'm firing, I adjust my support hand. And so I need some work on that. And then second, the other thing that I'm doing is I'm doing the slightest peek over my sights instead of looking through them in order to see my shot placement. That is time that I could shave off. Those are really picky points, but that's what I see that I could clean up here.
Funny, I literally keyholed the first 3 rounds. I can see the target really well at this distance. And the other 2, well, I was getting too impressed with myself and it wasn't as accurate. I'll let you see for yourself. Out. Reload here. Got 2 more rounds to finish. Single hand, work the action. Yes. Goes to lock back nicely. Go see how we did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have that outstanding question in my mind about whether or not the extended magazine, so the 15 round magazine, if it's compatible with that Wilson Combat Grip module. So I just want to give this one a test run for the last 5 rounds at 3 yards.
The P365 XL 15 round magazine option, it is compatible with the Wilson Combat Grip module. That's an added plus also. The other thing I wanted to demonstrate, because it was a sticking point for me, is that I can close that action single-handed. I'm impressed with that ability. Before, with the P365 XL stock grip, I could not close the action without compromising my grip. And I say, in the potential fight for your life, there is never an opportune time to lose grip or compromise grip of your defensive tool. That's my 2 cents. So I'm really impressed with the Wilson Combat Grip module in that regard. Finishing up here at the 3-yard line, this portion of the range is sloped, and so your footing is a little bit what would you call it? It's not level, so you have to play with that other variable as well. But I'm very happy with the deliberate nature in which I've approached shooting today to go slow, and I'm seeing the dividends of that payoff in that grouping really dialed in, and my shooting is also becoming more dialed in. This was a fresh schmoo this morning, and I placed the 8-inch paper plates over it, and then later I replaced it as it became a little bit more comfortable with the new equipment. I put the 3x5 note cards in with that intention that I'd slow down and I'd really focus on aiming small in order to miss small. And this target really does demonstrate the effectiveness of this drill. If you run the drill, let me know how it works for you.
What this range experience has done for me so far, it has given me confidence in that platform, the Sig Sauer P365 XL with the Wilson Combat module. It's awesome. I would highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. It's great. It makes it a dream actually to shoot. So that's a wrap on the P365 XL with the Wilson Combat Grip module added onto it. I have to say I love it, and anytime that I'm going about a defensive carry tool modification or adaptation, any of those things, I do put it through those rigorous testings, those rigorous verifications that it's going to work. The equipment, the holster, the ammunition, all of those things. And I hope that if you, whether you're choosing a firearm for the first time, or you're making adjustments to what you already carry, I hope that you are that deliberate also, so that you can have that confidence in that tool, that it's there when you need it. All right, signing off. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, all of the things in order to help this channel grow and make good use of this time that I'm putting in here. Thank you so much.